When you think about it, the Lenten season, Holy Week and Easter, the Easter season takes up just about a quarter of the year. If you think about that, the two longest seasons of the church year, we celebrate one right after the other, right at this time of the year. And we're very near a turning point now with Ascension Thursday giving rise to one more Easter Sunday and then Pentecost. And it's interesting because people think, well, what are some of the images that are in the heart for this season we've had? And maybe it's not so to create, let's say, this long list of things, but every now and then people sometimes say to me, they don't know which image is sadder. One is scriptural and one is not. There's the one that's very scriptural is all the images, let's say, of the crucifixion. One that's maybe scriptural but with a lot of license taken to it is the Pietà. It's Michelangelo's Pietà. And I had the deep privilege of seeing a replica of the Pietà in New York back in 1969 when a bunch of us from our high school went down for a trip one day just to see this. And it's interesting because, well, just the idea of the image of Mary holding the body of her son in her arms. And there's so much that's caught into, say, people who think about the cross being a sign of loss and scandal. For so many, the experience of the Pietà is loss and tragedy. And just the image, let's say, of Mary holding her son and knowing how God holds Mary and holds all of us. And there's just some things to hang on to with that. Here we are now realizing there's very few images that we have of the Ascension. There are very different accounts in the scriptures of the Ascension. Maybe there's not any one that people kind of fix on. But I want to suggest something. It appears in our reading tonight. The idea, let's say that, well, how to best put it? Let's say that we have very much a sense about how after the experience of dying and rising, there is hope. Maybe hope is very, very hard to paint. Hope is very, very hard to sculpt out of stone. But the experience of all of us as baptized people, filled with the gifts of the Spirit, and the idea that Christian hope calls forth from us what it means to be a follower of Jesus. We have been walking with Jesus through the Lenten desert. We've been walking with Jesus in that time after resurrection, the whole Easter season, where Jesus is giving the disciples just a little bit more to think about in terms of how to be the disciples that they are called and blessed to be. And we can think about for ourselves too, who are we called and blessed to be? Are we those who, say, understand the joy of the Gospels and we can celebrate with people and offer the goodness of Jesus into hearts that are very, very free and open and filled with joy? And we are called to be there in the midst, let's say, of Mary's moment holding her son. We have joy and we have sorrow and everything in between. Can we be there to walk with, to console, and to help others lift up in hope? Just as Jesus rises to his Father with the Ascension, may we look to the experience of Christian hope, help us rise to use the good gifts God has given us, and then to go forward and be his people in the world. Very soon we'll celebrate the coming of the Spirit. And John, as we've been hearing, let's say, in the Easter season Gospels, John certainly has been telegraphing that there's a coming of an advocate. We hear it 3 times. We are getting ready to walk with the Spirit, and let the Spirit guide us, fill us, empower us, cajole us, push us along a little, help us to become truly those who are sisters and brothers of Christ, and to help them come alive in the world, to quench thirst and feed hungers, to be with people in the midst of their joys and their sorrows and everything in between, as together we walk to be one with the Christ. Just as the Christ goes to return to his Father, but we follow the path of Christ and be with his Father too.